Luis Diaz is a talented striker from South America and one of Liverpool's new leaders. Over the past year, this winger has become a dream come true for Colombian youth surviving in the poorest parts of the country. Today, Diaz plays in the English Premier League on a six-figure contract and never ceases to amaze with his performances. Like many football stars, he began his life journey in extreme poverty. Luis Diaz spent his childhood years near the border with Venezuela, in one of the poorest regions of Colombia, La Guajira, which the government hardly followed. Diaz was also among those who had to fight for the smallest piece of bread and a drop of water just to survive. Colombian journalist Juan Felipe Sierra once wrote that as a child, the starving Luis was so skinny he was nicknamed Fideo, which means noodles in Spanish. Due to having difficulties with eating, Diaz had problems with his skin and hair growth. He was also often sick and lost weight. At some point, the parents feared that the kid might leave this cruel world like many of his Colombian peers. Nevertheless, Diaz found the energy for football and, while chasing the ball barefoot through the street potholes, tried to imitate the Brazilian legend Ronaldinho. Luis's father was a coach at the only football school in a small town of Barrancas, with a population of 38,000, and the one who organized friendlies on a makeshift pitch. The boy skipped classes and came to play with the neighboring kids until his mother got angry and made him take these studies more seriously. Under her supervision, Diaz graduated from high school, received a secondary education, and only then began to train with all importance. In a short period, he became the leader of the local youth team. The moment that changed Luis's life came in 2015 when he was 18 years old. Colombia has announced an indigenous team tournament that will form a national team to compete in the America's Cup of Indigenous Peoples. Diaz saw this as the perfect opportunity to make a name for himself. Of the 3,000 children who came to the tournament, it was he in whom scouts were interested in. 17-year-old Diaz was signed by Colombian second division club Barranquilla. However, the coaches, of course, could not approve Diaz's physique. His body was very fragile and with a height of 180 centimeters. He had very little weight. Luis was immediately prescribed a special diet for rapid weight gain. The boy took a course of enhanced nutrition rich in multivitamins, vegetables, and animal protein. Subsequently, in a short time span, Diaz gained 10 kilograms. At first, the youngster was only allowed to join the under-18 youth team, but he quickly moved up to the U20 age group. Luis grew above himself every day and proved that he was set to play at a professional level. So in the summer of 2017, he was taken by Atletico Junior. Once he got there, Diaz began to play on a regular basis and scored 20 goals in 80 appearances for 3 seasons, and also won the local league with the team, making his debut for the adult national team of Colombia. Soon, Diaz fell under the radar of European clubs, with Brighton and Hove Albion, Cardiff and Porto contacting him and his representatives. Luis chose the Portuguese side, emulating his compatriots James Rodriguez, Radamel Falcao, Freddy Guarin and Jackson Martinez, who had already made a name for themselves by joining the Dragons. Porto laid out 7 million euros for the striker and awarded him a 5-year contract. Going on to prove himself in the national team and the Portuguese league, Luis deserved a call to the 2021 Copa America, but the tournament started badly for the lad, as he found himself on the bench right on the first game, and in the second one he went out for half an hour and received a red card. However, the failures did not break the Colombian, and on the last match day of the group stage, he turned the tide by scoring a goal with scissors kick against Brazil. As a result, this goal was recognized as the best in the whole Copa America tournament. Diaz scored in the semi-final in Argentina back then, though Colombia lost in the penalty shootout. Los Cafeteros could no longer claim either silver or gold medals, but Luis still did not fade away and transferred his energy to his teammates. In the battle for third place against Peru, he scored a brace and helped the Colombians win bronze. Moreover, Luis shared first place with Lionel Messi in the ranking of the tournament's top scorers, eventually getting on the radars of top clubs. Although the success did not turn the guy's head, and that same summer, with his usual modesty, he returned to his native Barrancas to play with friends, acquaintances, and other locals on a tough, shabby pitch. For him, this is absolutely normal, not a shameful thing to do, and that's why he's so loved in his homeland. Diaz spent the first half of the following season at Porto, and the club had no plans to sell him initially. But financial difficulties after relegation from the Champions League forced him to set sights for his next destination. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern, Barcelona, and Tottenham Hotspur showed interest in Luis, but Liverpool turned out to be the most agile contenders, paying 40 million euros for his services. Diaz quickly secured a place at the starting 11, began scoring, providing assists, and charging the team with his speed and bold one-on-one dribbling attempts. As for this day, Luis had 55 matches under his belt, 10 goals and 5 assists in the Reds jersey, and this is just the beginning. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp and all the fans admired the Colombian, while the player himself is constantly learning and improving his English in order to fully adapt and communicate freely with the fans. At the same time, as already mentioned, Diaz does not forget his roots, and his fame still reaches 6,000 miles from England to Barrancas, where his career began. Following the success of Luis in European football, the Colombian government revised its attitude towards the city, which no one had ever cared about before. Recently, several football pitches have been built in the place where Diaz grew up, and local youth have received a role model in the person of Luis, giving them hope for a better life. Barrancas is decorated with murals with images of a footballer who has become a symbol of the city. It is hard to believe that a boy who starved and was on the verge of death as a child could come to such a comfort. Under a contract with Liverpool, Diaz is entitled to receive 3.5 million euros a year. Now he can provide himself, his wife, child, and family with the most delicious food, vacations, trips, cars, and much more. However, we must remember that Luis achieved all this on his own, without outside help, someone's money or luck. Which means that such life stories are more real than they might seem, motivating you to follow your dreams. So each of you folks is just as capable of going through any difficulties and making your life as bright, successful, and comfortable as possible, just like Luis Diaz did. Guys, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, we're always open to suggestions for players that you would like to hear about in the next videos. Thank you all for watching, and bye!